So let me ask you one question. Are you one of those resellers that has a lot of stuff? People call it a death pile, and I guess you'd call it a death pile if you have really no intention of selling it. And we'll talk about that here, but there's a fine line. And are you either now dealing with a death pile or do you have backstock? I want to talk about that here on the other side. So without any further ado, let's go. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the channel. This is John with Flippin' Ain't Easy. And either you have backstock or you are a hoarder. There's really no two ways about it. Now, you could be that seller who is just selling whatever you are able to pick up that particular day, that particular week, and it's there for you. It's in queue. You might have a handful of things, or you might just go lot to lot, and you're trying to finish that lot before you buy new stuff. And the only problem with that formula is if you are counting on the next lot. So I'm going to have this lot, I'm going to finish it, I'm going to then go and buy another lot. What happens if you're not able to find good stuff in that lot? It's almost like you are then sort of forced to settle because you don't have anything to list and you want to keep adding stuff to your store. Now, you might be that seller, and I guess this would fit better for part-timers because I was in this mode at one point. If you don't find something worth selling, you just then skip and then wait until that opportunity presents itself. And then once it does, you just continue to sell. And then you maintain the original listings that you had all this time in your store. But you're not really growing that way the way you probably should. You're not really replenishing the stuff you're selling throughout the days or weeks until you get that next lot. So my idea is I never want to be that seller that has to rely on that next lot. And I kind of did that in Q4 the last couple of years, where I still had stuff to list in my garage, but it wasn't all that great. And I still listed it, but it wasn't what the market demanded from me. Like Q4 didn't care that I had subpar stuff. It wanted the good stuff, and I didn't have the good stuff to replenish in my store. So I guess that's what's kind of driving me here to do what I'm doing now, to have the storage unit that I picked up in late October of this last year, and to fill it up with as much decent stuff as I can come across and keep a queue. So I'm either buying more, I'm buying more stuff, and I'm either bringing it here to list directly or it's going to storage. And I think I have quite a bit. And it almost feels like I am operating a death pile and I'm working around a death pile. But let me just kind of clear up what I think is a death pile. A death pile is items or a lot of items that you just avoid. How many of us have items that we just don't want to deal with, and we would rather just go get something else to list than to deal with whatever the hell we bought? Now, I can tell you, I do have a semi death pile in that I don't know if you guys remember those auto parts I bought last year. I bought the guy out. It was about 500 units of filters and brake pads and oil filters, air filters, things like that. Well, I listed some of them, but in the middle of listing all those, I realized this is not at all efficient, because anyone who lists on eBay Motors knows that you have to fill out. Well, you really need to. You don't have to, but you really need to if you want the ultimate exposure on eBay Motors, and that is to put in the compatibility. So every particular make and model of that vehicle you have to account for, and that's a lot of work. And you have to know all these parts, and I'm sure that most of these parts are different parts, different filters, different brake pads. And I'm not a mechanic, and I have to rely solely on the internet to find those models. It's a lot of work for a $15 to $20 part, and I avoid those because I want to get more out of my time. What am I going to do with that lot of parts? I don't know. Maybe I'll try to resell them to somebody, try to break even on my investment, or I get to them eventually. But I think that's kind of what, to me, a death pile is. A lot of goods where you just will do almost anything to avoid listing it because for whatever reason, it could be a logistical nightmare. Maybe you hate dealing with that type of item. And whatever it is, let me know what item is it that you just cannot stand listing. Put that down below. And do you have a death pile that kind of falls into that description? And so, yeah, that's what a death pile to me is. Now, I'm going to show you what I have that I'm dealing with, both here and in my storage unit the last time I was there. And I'll let you decide if you guys think, based on your definition, if you think that I either have maybe a healthy backstock situation or if I really just am becoming a hoarder and I have just too much stuff. Here's my current situation, guys. I have a pile right here for my parts. These are things that are not functional but have value for their parts alone. And so as you can see, it's just a lot of randomness, but as I get it, I test it, it doesn't work, something's wrong. I put it here, and when I get a moment, because this is secondary, this goes on the secondary account, when I get a moment, I process these as parts and I go through and find sold comps for the models that I have, and I basically just pull the parts that have sold before. I mean, I'm sure I can go in and take other parts as well, but while they're already open, but I generally don't do that. I look for stuff in general, whether it's working or not, that has previously sold. Seems to be my formula. I don't like to anticipate if something's going to sell based on what I think or feel. There's been many times that I've passed on pulling parts that I get questions like, hey, do you have this particular part? I don't have it. And this right here, all this that I'm showing you right now, this is stuff that is waiting for me. We've got tankless water heaters. We've got skill drills. We have even irons and stuff, right? I mean, all this stuff comes in liquidation pallets. Here's Roombas. Now, Roombas are kind of questionable. They're kind of suspect in liquidation because a lot of times they're missing brushes and stuff. More often than not, I'm parting these things out because they don't work in some way, shape, or form. But I mean, it goes back here. We got more stuff here. All the stuff on the racks is stuff that is ready to go. And the challenge that I have is I'm going to be gone this next week. Jenna's going to be holding down the fort. And she's got to sneak back here. And like if I have like patches and stuff, just different stuff off these racks, she's got to pull that stuff down. So I've got to find a way to clear a little bit more space for her so that she's not climbing around on this pile. So that's kind of it, guys. This is I don't want to call it my death pile. This is my money maker. This is my back stock. It's not yet listed. It's waiting. It's in queue. And I'm going to show you the latest video of my storage unit. And you can just tell me what you think, because I'm telling you right now, that storage unit is quite packed. I mean, I have walk room, as you can see here. There's a way to get through, and there's a lot of stuff. I have it organized somewhat based on the type of item, with vacuum cleaners and auto parts and appliances, and even some of the larger stuff that I have already listed, like the toilet seats and the Rico transfer units and stuff like that. Easily 6 to 7 pallets worth of stuff. Am I hoarding, guys? Or is this just what you would call back stock? And not even to mention, if I go over here, this other side of the garage here, that stuff's listed up there. This stuff is not. I've got a sink. I have a, can't really see it too good, but it's a Dyson. You see a little Dyson stuff in there. Power tools. Just random stuff, guys. I've got too much stuff. I have almost too much stuff. So I want to know, am I hoarding, or is this a healthy amount of stuff that you would call backstock? That's the debate. So what do you think? A lot of stuff, at least for me. Maybe some of you, it's not even enough. Maybe you need more than that. Maybe you have a warehouse and maybe you would be buying truckloads, and that's nowhere near the amount of merchandise you have. I think we're all different in that regard. And really, there's no wrong way in handling how you address your stock situation. But I do think that you always need to have your next lot that you're going to list on hand. So I would say, if you don't want to operate like I am, where you have a bunch of stuff in storage or have piles of stuff in your garage, at least do it to where you have 1 or 2 listing sessions of stuff that you can be happy to list, that's there for you. And maybe if you're down to 1 or 2 of those lots, little mini lots, it's time to go find something else, so that you have something to list in the interim, and then you're not out of stuff and then in panic mode, and now you're buying stuff you shouldn't be buying because it really is kind of fringy. It doesn't have a whole lot of demand, but you feel like you have to list something. I don't ever want to be in that mode, and I don't think that you do. I think that's not the optimal way to run your eBay business. So again, I just want to know what you guys think. Am I a hoarder, or is this just a healthy backstock situation? And really, at what point, if you're in my situation, would you stop buying if you were able to continue to get good stuff? Now remember, I'm doing this for one reason. It's based on mistakes, and I call them mistakes. These are learning experiences that I've had the last 2 Q4s, where I feel like I'm not finding the good stuff that I'm finding all year round. So my thought process is, yeah, get enough stuff that I can keep listing throughout this first 3 quarters of the year, and also have extra stuff that's waiting in the wings so that I can jump on it and get it listed. And it's almost like I'm not skipping a beat. I'm not competing. Instead of paying 10% of MSRP, I'm like I'm doing right now, I would be paying 30% MSRP, which I really feel like the way you win at this game is on the buy. So I'm going to buy well, and I'm going to keep buying well, and that's my formula. So want to know your thoughts down below. Hit that like button, get your sale in the next 24 hours. If you enjoy the content that I'm trying to put out more of, please consider subscribing and hit that notification bell. But figuring out if you are a hoarder or a reseller with a healthy stock situation, well, yet that's another example of how flipping ain't easy. I want you guys to have an excellent rest of your day, and we will talk to you very soon. We love you. Take care.
Chargebacks, returns, and lowball offers too. Zero takedowns, they're a pain, what can we do? High selling fees, bad buys, and rude buyers galore. Flipping ain't easy, but we keep coming back for more. All resellers are gonna make mistakes. Learn from them and you'll have what it takes. In the world of reselling, we're your guide. With flipping ain't easy by your side. Sourcing great items is the key to success. Subscribe to the channel and stand above the rest. Focus on the thing that is within your control. Hang with flipping ain't easy. Let's roll! Catch the live streams on Mondays and Fridays. Join the Discord community for the parlays. Tune into the podcast. Profit Playbook's the name. With Scott and Josh, flipping's more than a game. All resellers are gonna make mistakes. Learn from them and you'll have what it takes. In the world of reselling, we're your guide. With flipping ain't easy by your side. Catch the live streams on Mondays and Fridays. Join the Discord community for the parlay. What's the name? With Scott and Josh, this is more than a game.